The Raspberry Pi Foundation was founded to create an affordable way for the younger generation to learn programming. Eben Upton, Rob Mullins, Jack Lang, and Alan Mycroft were the men behind the mission to bring affordable programming opportunities to children. They noticed a severe drop in the experience level of students applying for the Cambridge University's computer science program. This revelation was shocking for these 4 hobbyist programmers. They had all grown up learning programming on gaming systems such as Spectrum ZX and BBC Micros. They concluded that the systems they were so used to had become far too expensive for the younger generation to even be interested in them. This began their quest to provide a cheap and fun way to learn how to code. The Raspberry Pi is small, but it contains all the necessary components larger computers have in order to operate correctly. The central processing unit is located in the middle of the board. It handles input, output, graphics, etc. The RCA video port is the source of video output. Right next to the RCA port is the audio out port. Status LEDs, or light-emitting diodes, indicate status of the Pi, so they tell you if the Pi is on or off. The USB ports are where mice, keyboards, etc. are plugged in. In newer models, there are quad or 4 USB ports, but in the older models, there's just 2. Internet connection is established by plugging in a network connection into the Ethernet port. A small camera may be plugged in through the CSI camera connector. Using the HDMI port, you can plug in the Pi to a high-definition device, such as a TV. The micro power slot is where 5 volts of power is plugged in. The SD card plug-in is pretty self-explanatory. And last but not least, the GPIO pins. These are general-purpose input and output connections. The Raspberry Pi can be used as a regular computer, but it also has many other fun uses. The Raspberry Pi can be used to run games, music, videos, and pretty much anything else you can dream up. One man actually used a total of 64 Pis working together to create a supercomputer. Others have designed a Raspberry Pi smartphone. Really, the ideas are endless. The Raspberry Pi can accommodate multiple different operating systems, and along with working with these different OSs, the Pi can be coded in different languages as well. The Raspberry Pi Foundation recognizes the Linux-based operating system, or the Raspbian OS, as the main OS the Pi works with. Rasp BMC, Kali Linux, RISC OS Pi, or Fedora can also be used as Raspberry Pi operating systems. Python, C, C++, Java, HTML5, and Ruby on Rails can all be used to program the Pi as well. Although it's much smaller, the Raspberry Pi operates pretty well compared to large computers. But there are both pros and cons to using a Raspberry Pi. Because Pis are much smaller than standard computers, this makes them perfect for small-scale coding projects. They can handle up to 730 megapixels of video, they accept a wide variety of operating systems, and they accept a wide variety of programming languages. However, for commercial uses, they wouldn't perform as well as standard computers would. They were built to create smaller and simpler programs, not handle everyday use as personal computers. Since the release of the original Raspberry Pi, there have been several newer models created that provide a greater range of uses. The Raspberry Pi Model B and B Plus have 4 USB ports, 40 GPIO pins, full HDMI ports, and better graphics and audio quality. The Raspberry Pi Zero is half the size of a Model A, but it has a wider range of utility. It comes equipped with 512 megabytes of RAM, a mini HDMI and mini USB ports, and a micro USB power port. So, how much do they cost? The Raspberry Pi Zero is the least expensive model released. The small board costs a mere $5. The Raspberry Pi Model A Plus can sell anywhere from $20 to $30, and the Model B costs $30. The Model B Plus ranges from $35 to $40, depending on where you get it from. There are many different types of cases and holders for Raspberry Pis. All you have to do is choose which one you like best. A lot of people build their own cases out of Legos or cardboard or homemade plastic. Basically, however you want to protect your Raspberry Pi, if you can dream it up, you can do it. Alright, I've listed a bunch of the citations I have, so everyone knows the photos I used weren't my own. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.